It's May. It's May, which means it's time for another lusty month of Meyer. I'm Alma Langlois, and today I'm talking about Russ Meyer's ninth feature film, Motorpsycho. The youth of Russ Meyer tends to offend wussier sensibilities, so if you're the type who needs a trigger warning... And I know right now some of you are going, wait a second, Alma, what about the pickup? You said you were going to do the pickup. Where's the pickup?
Lighten up, Francis.
The pickup unfortunately got delayed due to me being a cold and flu magnet this year. But don't you fret, the pickup show is still coming. But first, I've got another double shot of Russ Meyer for you. For the uninitiated, Russ Meyer had a particular obsession.
Boobies, boobies, boobies. Nothing but boobies.
An obsession he channeled into unique and massively entertaining films. With their combination of sex and violence and celebration of enormous female talents, some people, mostly of the whiny variety, accuse Russ Meyer's films of being sexist.
What's wrong with being sexy? I mean, there's no trouble with sex.
But I have to say, there's just something about Russ Meyer's women that speaks to something deep within me, and that I find extremely relatable. Although you won't see Russ's particular obsession on display as much here, this is the first Russ Meyer movie without any nudity. I know what some of you are thinking.
This movie's so bogus. It really is.
But buckle in, buckaroos, it's a plenty entertaining ride. Motorpsycho is the touching story of a trio of Honda nerd bike riding psycho dorks rampaging and pillaging through the California desert. They target the voluptuous Gail Maddox, but are promptly told off by her veterinarian husband Corey, played by Alex Rocco. The three doofuses there don't take kindly to this, and while Corey is away to tend to a horse emergency...
You know how females are, darling, especially when they're pregnant.
Or want to be.
What?
I said, if Starlight's undergone some sort of miraculous cure, why did you send for me?
Well, I figured you were on your way over here, and besides, I wanted you to look at him. Oh, he belongs to a friend of ours. And Tom and I are thinking of buying him and using him for breeding purposes.
The bikers pay Gail a surprise visit and proceed to twist her throttle and break her clutch. And after watching them subject her to their spastic interpretive dance routine, I can't think anything other than kill these guys right now. As is typical in these kinds of movies, Corey is none too impressed by law enforcement. In this case, Russ Meyer himself playing a particularly sensitive sheriff.
She'll be all right in a week or so. After all, nothing happened to her that a woman ain't built for.
In his memoir, Russ explains why he ended up playing this part. I had grown a fat gut, too much chowing down and not enough of the old in-out. Anyway, an army buddy who was supposed to do the sheriff's role couldn't hack it. And with no one else available who was not working the scene, I fell heir to the part. That's also Russ's frequent assistant director and right-hand man, George Costello, as the doctor. Meanwhile, another couple runs afoul of our psychopathic trio, an old farmer and his fiery Cajun bride, Ruby.
I need you like a hole in the head.
Shut your black mouth. I got you out of biotech. Most broads would be grateful.
Grateful? Oh, mon Dieu! You mow me through every cheap motel in 3 states. Then you get us lost in the middle of nowhere. And I'm supposed to be grateful?
You Cajun witch. I should have never married you. Should have left you back in biotech. You ain't worth a lead dollar's company, and you're 4 times worse than the sack.
Ranch! You talk about this sack. Didn't anyone tell you can't push a car with the Toro? Next time we get into, you can get lost, Harry Boner. I don't need you to get to LA.
As someone who's lived in Louisiana, that accent didn't come out of any bayou I know of. But she's played by exotic super vixen and self-proclaimed extraterrestrial Haji, so I'm gonna let that slide. Although I'm more partial to her Chico Marx accent and Faster Pussycat Kill Kill.
Alright, you washed. Now I'm gonna spit and dry you.
Corey and Ruby join forces in a quest for vengeance to spray the desert with dork biker blood. Weary from obscenity battles over Lorna and Mudhoney, and sensing a more conservative cultural shift regarding films containing sex and nudity, Motorpsycho is Russ Meyer's attempt at doing a more mainstream drive-in movie. Many critics still chided him over his use of sex and violence, but Meyer was handsomely rewarded at the box office. Of Motorpsycho, The Hollywood Reporter said, "A film that lacks any kind of good taste." Well, yeah, that's why we love it.
They don't know anything, you know? They're a bunch of jerks.
It's much tamer sexually than most of his other movies, but it still contains his unique stamp and several Meyer tropes. Voracious, voluptuous women and the clueless husbands that can't handle them.
Now you've screwed up the fishing.
You've got the best there is on your line right now.
As in many Russ Meyer movies, destruction always occurs when a man ignores a woman's needs. And the female cast have a habit of wiggling straight into the camera. Of course, we get Russ's double entendre humor.
Cut the fang marks open. Hey, take the knife. Cut it. Cut knife. Cut the fang marks open. Cut 'em, make little X's. Cut 'em, look at it and do it. All right, take it easy. Go ahead. Cut the fang mark. Look at it. 2 X's. Some more. All right, put the knife down. All right, suck it. Suck out the poison. Suck it. Some more. Suck it out. Suck it some more. Spit it out. Some more.
Meyer's distinctive editing style is really taking shape in this one, and Motorpsycho is also a much tighter-paced film than Mudhoney or Lorna. Meyer's staccato editing style emerged for practical reasons in addition to creative ones. Multiple camera setups and setting up a track for dolly shots all take more time and money. However, you can create movement and energy through multiple cuts. George Romero also employed this in his earlier part of his career. And speaking of George Romero, if you recognize Hollie K. Winters as Gail, that's because she's really Lane Carroll, star of The Crazies. The biker movie subgenre would explode the following year with AIP's The Wild Angels, but biker movies had been popular with audiences since 1953's The Wild One.
I love you, Johnny.
But while The Wild One is about the disillusionment and alienation of the silent generation, the bikers of Motorpsycho represent the rootlessness and hedonism of the new generation. I don't think the dorky moped-type bikes chosen by the Motorpsychos was cluelessness or budgetary. I think it's Meyer's sense of humor, and making the point that these guys are not real outlaws, but poseurs, spoiled kids out for kicks at the expense of others, fixated on gadgetry and shallow entertainment.
Hello, Mom! Hi. Thanks. Oh, fine. Well, I'm out west on a trip.
The image of the biker in film transitioned from a noble outsider rebelling against a society that excluded him to a self-indulgent degenerate.
We'll never make Vegas tonight with this gig.
Vegas? Ma, Flower, I can think of better things to make. Huh, Brahmin?
So who needs slot machines?
This is also an early use of the unhinged Vietnam veteran prone to violence trope, with the gang's leader Brahmin, played by Stephen Oliver. In his memoir, Meyer says he admires Brahmin's military service, but in both exploitation and mainstream films of the era, the Vietnam veteran was often shorthand of a dangerous loner, used by and then excluded by society.
We got orders to wait for the choppers. Huh? I said we wait for the choppers. We'll be here soon, at 1700 hours. We'll show those commie bastards. We'll show you, you red grabbers! You think you're safe out here, huh?
Stephen Oliver was actually a Vietnam veteran, having served in the Navy in the early part of the war before he began his acting career. There are a lot of actors who try to act like tough guys, but are wussies in reality. But by all accounts, Stephen Oliver really was a tough guy. Son of a garage mechanic, one of 5 children born in Philadelphia and later raised in Riverside, California, Oliver, according to his IMDb page, was an honorary Hell's Angel in his youth. He had something of a theme career playing bikers in films like Werewolves on Wheels, Angels from Hell, and Savage Abduction. But after Motorpsycho, he had a 2-year stint as bad boy Lee Weber on Peyton Place, allegedly cast because they needed someone to keep Ryan O'Neal in line.
Oh, man. Oh, God. Oh, man.
I think he gives the best performance in the movie. Not to minimize Alex Rocco's performance in a rare lead role. Most of you will recognize him as Mo Green in The Godfather, but I think my favorite role of his is his half of the wisecracking hitman duo in Bonnie's Kids. Alex Rocco might be the only actor who can claim that he started a mob war. Born Alessandro Petriconi Jr., Rocco was a hanger-on with Boston's infamous Winter Hill Gang. The story goes that an unwanted advance towards Rocco's girlfriend set off the Boston Irish Gang War of 1961. He and some of his cohorts served prison time for the assault of a diner owner in Somerville, Massachusetts, and in October 1961, he was arrested under suspicion of murder when a witness claimed Rocco was the getaway driver in the murder of Bernie McLaughlin of the Charlestown mob. Rocco was released due to lack of evidence. After serving his prison term for the assault charge, Rocco moved to California and got a job as a bartender at a watering hole frequented by actors. The bar was also frequented by Eve Meyer, the pinup-turned-producer and then wife of Russ Meyer, who recommended Rocco for the lead in Motorpsycho. Rocco didn't have much acting experience at the time, but upon moving to LA, he did take acting classes taught by fellow Bostonian Leonard Nimoy, who advised Rocco to take speech classes to get rid of his Boston accent. While a majority of Meyer's male leads are hapless wusses, oblivious, or just plain sadistic, Alex Rocco's Corey is both gentle and masculine. He's not afraid to stand up to the bikers, but he's also a kind and considerate husband. Motorpsycho is also notable in that it's Meyer's first collaboration with Haji, who he would work with in 4 subsequent films. In addition to acting, she also did makeup, wardrobe, and still photography on several of Russ's films. Referred to by Russ Meyer biographer Jimmy McDonough as Anna Magnani with pasties, Haji was born Barbarella Catton in Quebec of British, Canadian, and Filipino stock. I came visiting here with my family from another galaxy, and we landed in Quebec, she says. You Earthlings are very strange people.
Reminds me of the story when the boy says to the girl, "What is a nice girl like you doing here?" And she says, "I don't know. Just lucky, I guess."
Ruby, then what is a nice girl like you doing in a place like this?
Just like the girl said, just lucky, I guess.
When asked how she adopted the name Haji, she just responds, "It's a long story."
You wanted the bedtime story. Now you got it. What the hell did you expect anyway? Fanny Hill?
She moved to Los Angeles and began exotic dancing at age 14. She was recommended to Russ Meyer by a gentleman who had seen her dance routine and approached by Meyer and George Costello to audition for a supporting part in Motorpsycho. After her reading, Meyer cast her as the lead instead.
But things happen to a girl all by herself in the big city.
A lover of nature and animals, Haji would reputedly start out each day body surfing naked in the ocean. While many actresses would have complained, Haji actually enjoyed the primitive conditions filming in the desert for Motorpsycho, finding the constant presence of desert predators and rattlesnakes exciting. Of working with Russ Meyer, she said, "He taught me to be a soldier. It was hard working with Russ, but it was the best thing that ever happened to me." In an interview with Shock Cinema magazine, Haji said, "I was never really a city girl. I spent a lot of my time living in the woods. I had a fear of people, so I found a lot of comfort in nature. I'm amazed at the beauty of this planet, but I'm so very disappointed in most people who call themselves human beings. If you see an apple tree, you know you're going to get apples, not oranges, right? But people, they tell you one thing and then they do another."
You don't want to kill me. You want to make love to me.
She also deserves credit for referring many Meyer leading ladies to Russ, including Tura Satana, Erica Gavin, and Sherry Eubank. And like many of Russ's leading ladies, Haji is tough but extraordinarily feminine. When interviewed by McDonough, she said, "These people that talk about exploiting, you know who makes comments like that? Lesbians. I love being a woman. I love all those sexy negligees and the nylons and the high heels." She also adamantly refused the casting couch, telling McDonough, One guy asked me if I wanted to give him a little head. I said, what I'd like to do is bust your head.
Oh, I'll give you a ride, sweets.
Keep your grubby hands off pig!
The box office success of Motorpsycho is also notable in that it planted the seed in Russ's mind. If a film about a trio of bikers terrorizing women is this popular, a film about 3 women beating the snot out of men would do even better. Thus began the germ for the film John Waters proclaimed to be not only the greatest movie ever made, but the greatest movie that will ever be made. Faster Pussycat, Kill Kill.
Because he's the victim. Their objections were that she was the victim. You see? That's all right. I mean, if the singer's the victim, it's different. It's not sexist.
He did a twist on it. He did.
Join me next time as the month of Meyer continues with his second to last film, Up! But until next time, stay sick.